Welcome back, everybody, to the THM McFly movie podcast, and it is a special episode today because we have the original lineup of THM McFly. I'm sitting here next to Daniel Sangre and Anton Gaskell, and I am Kevin Lyons.
It is ironic that we started off with this crew, and this happens to be our last episode, too, of the podcast.
No,
ironic.
Our last one? We're never
Ever.
doing this. Get out of here.
Like,
I bet you there's some people that want us to be the last one. But anyway, guys, today is going to be a really cool episode. We're talking about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the 9th film by Quentin Tarantino.
Not China?
Not China.
Not the Jet Li film? Or what?
No, not that one. But yeah, it came out last weekend, and we wanted to let this soak in for a little bit and see it a couple of times and sit on it for a week. Because usually when we review a movie, we do it like right away. Yeah. But good films like this, you kind of have to let it settle, right, Dan? You have to like let it come at you.
And it helps to get a second viewing of it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I did my second viewing today because there's a lot of expectations going into like a Tarantino film because he's made so many great movies before and you don't know what you're going to expect. And once you get the movie, there's so much information in there. You have to you have to think about it. And that's what I loved about this movie is after I watched it the first time, all I did was just think about it every day afterwards. I love when a movie does that.
You just start to appreciate all the little facets and all the little things that he puts into the movie, man. He's such a great filmmaker.
Yeah, what about you, Anton? Do you like the movie? We're going to do a non-spoiler right now, and then after the music, we're going to get heavily into spoilers. So what do you think, Anton?
I've been lying to Kevin all day.
You hated it?
Actually, I fucking love this movie.
Oh, yeah, there we go. I loved it too, man.
I've been lying to him. Like, I'm like trying to hold off on like what I really feel about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was waiting for this.
Yeah.
This moment.
And what about, like, your expectations going into it?
I didn't have any. That's
Really?
the beauty of, like, because every time I watch a Tarantino movie,
Yeah.
I just erase all my expectations because I don't...
You don't know what he's going to give you this time.
Yeah, because it's always a different... But the thing is about Tarantino, though, it always feels like a Tarantino movie.
It does, but you always get nervous. Is it going to be a Pulp Fiction or is it going to be Death Proof? Like, what Tarantino are we getting here? So it makes you nervous, but I feel like he learned after Death Proof and he got dramatically more consistent.
Really enjoyed this movie.
I did too. It was long, but it was like worth it. You know, like those good like long movies that you can just enjoy every single
drags,
scene.
Man. It's
yeah,
that's
right.
It.
All right, so that was the non-spoiler part of our review. So you guys ready to jump into spoilers?
Let's do it, dude.
All right, Dan, turn it on. Quentin Tarantino, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie. God damn, that was a really cool cast. It's not a huge cast, but it is like A-list awesome. You know you're going to get a good movie.
He did, and he had a lot of cameos. He had Al Pacino in it,
Yeah.
dude, and we haven't even talked about
I know,
him.
Al Pacino, he was like a background character.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Every time I talk about this movie, I haven't once ever talked about Al Pacino in this movie.
You know what's funny?
This is the first time.
Like, because they're both in, like, Oceans 11 and 12 and 13, whatever. Al Pacino was in the Ocean 13.
Was he?
Yeah, he played the bad guy that they stole it from.
Okay.
But he was playing the guy that he fucked over.
Yeah.
That was his character.
Yeah.
The guy that he fucked over in Ocean's 13.
Oh, okay.
The guy with the glasses.
Yeah,
the guy, like...
The rich guy.
The rich guy.
Yeah.
The benefactor.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's what he's playing, that character, and he actually played... him in the other movie, screwing him.
Dude, I was so nervous for this movie because it was like, he says he's only going to do 10 movies, and I believe him. So this is number 9. Like, we're not getting that many more Tarantino movies. So
you got to quit while you're ahead, dude.
Yeah, and I get it, but you get nervous when they come out. It's like, man, I really want this to be good. I want another one in the chamber. So when you watch it, it's like, yes, this is good.
Do you really think he's only going to do 10?
You know what? Like, when they asked him, I've been watching a bunch of interviews lately of just filmmakers, and Tarantino I've been watching a lot of. They interviewed him when he did, like, maybe 7 movies in, and he's like, well, that's a loose number. Maybe 11, maybe 12, I don't know, but, like, around that. Then lately he's been saying, no, it's 10. Like, I'm burning myself out. Like, he wants to do television, he wants to do plays and stuff.
There's no such thing as
no, because it's always like the classic rock band. There's like, this is our final tour.
Yeah.
Until the next tour.
I
10
really
years.
hope he does that, yeah.
I think it's only, like, thinking about that because I think he's running out of ideas. But once the next good idea comes in, Like, why not? You know,
You
then-
can't stop a creative.
Yeah.
Once they get that idea that they can't stop thinking
Yeah.
about, they don't care about what rules are set up before them. They have
No.
to, and they have to do it.
So it's like when people have issues with his movies, like everybody's open to their own opinion. I get it, but man, you can't deny the guy's a brilliant fucking filmmaker.
He really is.
He's a generational talent. He's like a Spielberg, like,
Yes.
like a Hitchcock. Like when you get
Of
these
like the
people-
90s.
Yeah, like they're just like amazing. Like man, like they're just.
I was just
they're brilliant.
watching about the John Campia thing, about his review about this.
Okay, and
Like,
what did he say?
He was
he
saying
against it?
like Tarantino's a Tarantino. You could always
Yeah.
tell a Tarantino movie from a Tarantino movie.
Yeah.
But the thing is about Spielberg, though, he is no Spielberg.
No,
No,
I mean,
they're
everybody's
different, yeah.
different.
Yeah.
But we're
Yeah.
talking about like those like
He's
a
just very
Spielberg movie looks
stylized.
like a Spielberg
Yeah,
movie.
it's
It's really good
stylized.
in the genre that he does. You know, it's
No,
just
the thing is about Spielberg, though, he has no genre. Everything is his genre.
Yeah, for sure.
Tarantino, he has a genre.
Yeah, or a style. I'll say he
A
has a style
style,
because
yeah.
he's done so many different genres. He's done basically.
But
He did
it's
horror.
It's still a Tarantino style.
Yeah, the style. I agree.
I mean,
with
a
you.
lot of it's like music too. Like Queen, only Queen sounds like Queen.
Yeah, like Freddie Mercury.
Yeah,
he only
about
did
it in
yeah.
the trailers,
We
yeah.
were talking about that, but I know the style. I think it's more about style because I think genres can be whatever you want them to be.
Well, the thing
See,
is, I was trying to say about the
yeah.
Spielberg thing. The argument.
Okay.
Like, Jaws is totally different from Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones is totally different from
Yeah. Jaws is a horror.
E.T.
Yep.
And they're all
Adventure.
different from Schindler's List. You can see Spielberg in the
Yeah.
camera,
Yeah,
but the storytelling, you can't really
Yeah.
tell. If it's
Yeah,
a Spielberg
yeah,
movie,
yeah.
you know
I
what
agree.
I'm saying?
It's his directing style. But the difference though is that Tarantino writes his own movies.
Yes.
So his stories fit the style that he directs, and
how would you explain his style? Like, what is his
okay,
style to
yeah.
you?
So his style, it's very punchy, meaning
Okay.
like his shots are very punchy. Like for instance, when Brad Pitt's driving the Cadillac and he's got that low angle looking up.
Yeah.
And the meaning behind that shot that he said was his stepdad owned a car that looked exactly like that. So that was Tarantino's point of view when he was little.
Looking up
at
at
that
his
age, looking up at his stepdad driving, so you see that shot. But it's very artistic, it's very stylized, it's very colorful.
Mhm.
It's the dialogue, the action. I mean, he always knows dramatic tension. So he does the thing that Hitchcock talks about, the ticking time bomb, right? Hitchcock said this thing about what's more interesting. You know, you have two guys having a conversation. The audience knows that there's a ticking time bomb underneath the table, right? So at first, if the audience doesn't know it and all of a sudden it just goes off, there's that quick moment of the surprise for the audience to think, holy shit, that was a time bomb, and then it goes away.
Mhm.
But if you show the ticking time bomb early and the two characters don't know that it's underneath there, then when they're having casual conversation about baseball, the audience is thinking, shut the fuck up, there's a bomb underneath the table. Like, you're stressing out, building up the tension.
Okay.
That's what Tarantino does.
You explained that exactly, specifically in this movie when Brad Pitt was walking up to the house on the movie ranch. When
Chatsworth?
in Chatsworth, when the
Yeah.
Manson girls, is because you know the history of the Manson girls. You know that they're like this group of basically like gypsies, and they'll take over a property. And so he's just like, he's suspicious, and he's like, I used to know the owner of this house.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go say hello. It's
George.
like, oh, he's napping. So you know that there's something fucked up, and it's like that
Yes.
ticking time bomb the whole time.
Yes.
Brad Pitt's just making his way up
Yeah.
there. That's exactly what you
Yeah.
were talking about. Yeah,
so,
that makes
so
total
you're
sense.
watching it not knowing how it's going to end,
Mhm.
but you know something's wrong with George because this tension is
Yeah.
built up.
The tension was so cool,
Yeah.
but another thing that I really liked, what he does with dialogue in a scene.
Yeah.
It has almost like that, but when you don't really need to build tension, when you just
Yeah.
see these two characters sitting down in a room having a conversation with Al Pacino when he meets Leonardo DiCaprio at the
Yeah.
bar, and he's going through, I saw all your pictures, you know, and then he goes, you're doing TV now, right? And he's explaining how you used to be this hit star,
Yeah.
and now that your show's canceled,
playing
you're
the
just
villain.
starring, playing the villain and all these other things,
Yeah.
and eventually that's gonna have this whole psychological. It gets very Tarantino with all that dialogue explaining
Yeah.
how your career is sinking. And it was just, if it was a Tarantino scene without necessarily seeing the writing on the page. That our friend Jose Ramos, he talks about all the time with Tarantino. A lot of his dialogue, you can just see a writer writing it while they're talking. Yeah. And it's just like so particular, you know, but this felt so natural in this movie.
Yeah, it is. And like the way Tarantino describes it, he says it's like poetry is the way he writes his dialogue. And there's some actors like Samuel L. Jackson or Christoph Waltz that speak it so perfectly. So when they do it, it feels so naturally. And Leo's amazing at it, man. Like,
but the thing is, every time if I close my eyes, I can still see Tarantino speaking it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like,
because the way they talk, the way the dialogue.
All these characters exist in this world, this Tarantino world. They all speak similarly. Like it feels like a small community.
You know what's really cool about Leo and Brad Pitt was the contrast of their characters. Oh, yeah. Like, cause I love Leo when he's like he is that high manic tension. He's like that manic. He's screaming. He's like really acting his heart out. But then he's Brad. Then Brad Pitt is just like as cool as laid back. He's like Matthew McConaughey.
Dude, he reminded me of the dude.
The dude, right?
Yeah.
And but the thing is, both those personalities work so well together as like best friends, and it was just so fun to see that dynamic.
Dude, and you know what was so awesome that he did? The way to show the contrast between them in the very beginning is when Leo gets out of the car. You see nice shoes and all these cigarette butts come out. And then when they cut to Brad Pitt, without even showing their face yet, we see his little moccasin shoes come down with no cigarettes. So you see the huge difference of the two characters.
Absolutely, man. Like even that, I remember seeing that shot, but I couldn't even analyze it to that point yet.
That's
just
what
like,
it was. So it's like
the whole time I was watching Brad Pitt's feet come out, I'm like, why the fuck is this motherfucker wearing moccasins?
Yeah, exactly.
Like those
That's
comfortable if like you're in your house, but if you're walking around Hollywood, I want something to protect my feet a little bit more than fucking moccasins.
That's his character.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Hey, man.
But that's the thing. It's like he shows us so much, and even the very beginning of the mount, he shows us so much without having to explain anything. We pick it up immediately in the first shot. Yeah. So even when we first start off, you know, we see the close up of the Leo's smile, like on that painting. Yeah. And then when they pull back, which was a dope shot of the camera on the car, fucking tight.
Oh yeah.
But when they reverse, you see how ego he is by having the giant fucking painting of him in his driveway.
I like it too because it gave the setting its own character too. Like his house, like when you pulls into that, you know it's his house because he has that big annoying painting of him that kind of looks like Jack Nicholson from like The Shining.
It wasn't a great painting.
No, but that's what I like about it.
It does look like kind of Jack Nicholson.
He can. Oh, he totally can.
Yeah, he used to do an impression I saw.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I gotta check. Because they were in The Departed together. That's right. They did that was a really Scorsese. But anyway, Tarantino.
But dude, Tarantino. So this movie, it's to people that ask what it is, I say I really enjoy it. Is it slow? Sure, but this reminds me kind of like a foreign film where sometimes the story is not as important as it is where you just share moments with these characters.
Absolutely. I mean, story, when we're watching a movie, we always pick on the story a lot, but like with good filmmakers that like to experiment with how to tell a story and like this is their version, I appreciate that more than somebody who just doesn't know how to tell a story. You know, Tarantino knows how to tell a story, and this one, his ninth film, he just wants to experiment with how he's telling the story of these characters, and I loved it. I thought that was great.
My big question, whose story is it?
It's, I think, ironically, it's kind of like Sharon Tate's story, but not really. I mean, because the whole time you're watching this movie, all you're thinking about is when is Sharon Tate going to get it?
Yeah, see, and then this movie, it's great that you brought that up. Remember I was talking about the ticking time bomb thing? Yeah. Tarantino sets it up that look at Sharon Tate. She's the one that you're going to worry about. And then he pulls the fucking hat trick on us at the end, and it's not them. It's Rick Dalton and Cliff. And it's like, oh, that was clever.
And that was almost one of my complaints at first because I felt that Margot Robbie was underused. I felt like her character, like I wanted at least one really cool scene that had something major to do with the plot, but it wasn't. But it was exactly what Tarantino wanted us to do. Look over here. Yeah. You know, and I just love that twist at the end too.
Yeah, it was. And I know he, even when they started really promoting the movie, he was reinforcing the idea of this isn't the Charles, like don't watch this thinking it's about the Charles Manson murders, Sharon Tate and all that. It's not. It's just Hollywood and she's a secondary character.
It's like an Elseworld story.
Yeah, the problem is that he got Margot Robbie, who's everybody just loves and wants
look
to
at?
see act. Yeah, but it's almost like the part was too small for her because she's so good.
And I also love when they were showing clips of her movie, they didn't re-record it with Margot Robbie. They just show her. I thought that was really cool.
Respectful.
But at the same time, this movie, Anton, we were talking about this earlier. It was like a parallel universe where it's the same as ours, but just a little bit different. You know, it's like a parody.
Like if this happened.
And what's awesome is that one time,
or satire. Sorry.
Yeah, an interviewer had asked him, how do you feel about rewriting history and all that stuff for your movie? And he says, I don't rewrite them. I just, in my world, these characters existed, and because they existed, it altered the ending. Like in real life, the bastards weren't there.
Yeah.
When Hitler was there.
Yeah.
But in my version, because they existed, they got him, man. They fucking killed him.
Yeah, it's like you ever go through something like over a weekend or something, and like you're just like, man, you always play it differently in your head. Like, I wish it went this way.
Yeah.
And like that's basically what this movie was. Is like, I wish those moments in time went like this, and you kind of like give into it.
Yeah,
because
but dude, when the violence came in, though, man,
that was
awesome. It comes out of nowhere and it smacks you in the face, and it's like,
that's my favorite part.
Yeah,
it
dude,
was
that
too.
was the best scene. The whole at the end when he smokes that fucking acid cigarette.
You see him run off, and you're thinking, what the hell? And then when he comes back walking, you're like, dude, it's the fucking flamethrower.
Oh, with the flamethrower.
Yeah.
So he's like, damn
Leo
hippies.
With the flamethrower, or even when they do the flashback, remember when he blows it, make it a little less honest with the flamethrower. Like, the fuck? Like, no, what the fuck do you want us to do?
It was even better after the end of that when like he's watching the cop car and the ambulance go away with Brad Pitt, and then Emile Hirsch is like, yo man, what happened? He's like, oh yeah, these hippies broke in, they tried to kill my friend, my wife. It's like, holy shit. He goes, yeah, well my friend killed 2 of them and I killed the other one with a flamethrower. He's like, a flamethrower? Oh yeah, from the 14 Fists of the movie he did. It's like, oh man,
that was awesome.
So
and he
great.
goes, is everybody's all right? Yeah, except for the hippies.
Yeah, except for the
hippies. They're toasted. Like,
dude, you leaned over to me during that. Remember when that girl started going crazy after she got the can of dog food in the face, and she's just, you were calling her what was it, Margot Kidder from fucking Family Guy?
Remember when she just busted in the diner?
Yeah, that's what it was.
It's so funny because that's so out of place. Like when that girl was freaking out and she was just like the whole time, even when nobody was attacking her, she's just flailing. Even in the pool, she's still flailing. Like those type of, like, that's so weird. But I'm glad that they just did that. It was just so funny because they could have been tripping on acid. You know,
this movie, I really feel like the main genre of it is a comedy. It's a comedy.
It is.
That's
it's
what
a satire.
And then he has drama because that's just what he does.
Dude,
that's Tarantino.
There's a guy with a flamethrower burning you, and you're in a pool.
Yeah.
And you're still up in the fucking thing.
You know what's so funny?
Half your body's still outside the pool instead of dipping in the pool.
It's so funny. Like 10 years ago, if 10 years ago you explained that situation of a movie to me, I would have been like, that's a Tarantino film.
Yeah, I would have known. After Pulp Fiction, that's him,
like a Hollywood A-list actor from the 60s took out a flamethrower and torched some hippie in his pool. Like, Tarantino definitely made that movie.
And that's what I'd say. It's like, dude, a lot of it's unbelievable, right? But it's called Once Upon a Time. It's telling you it's a fairy tale.
Yeah,
don't
that's
take
true.
this seriously. It's a fairy tale movie.
Absolutely.
You know,
how do you guys feel about the sorry, were you gonna complete that?
No, I was just gonna say, like, so ironically at the end, his happy ending is old Hollywood saving new Hollywood.
Okay.
That's what happened.
Oh,
by saving them.
all right.
Yeah, so it's like that's his fairy tale ending. This is his fairy tale of Hollywood.
Damn, man, just break down the whole movie like that for me.
The fairy tale was, remember, like, imagine if I just get invited to Roman Polanski's out for a pool party.
Yeah. And then he ends up happening.
Yeah, so I love that bookend, that callback, because he felt like he was not going to work anymore. And he's like, I live next door to Roman Polanski. Yeah. Like, I'm one pool party away from being in the next Polanski movie. Yeah. And I love how the movie ended with Sharon Tate inviting him up. Yeah. And it's just like, man, that's fucking cool. He had a happy ending.
Yes.
He had a happy ending. I'm trying to, that was really cool.
And even Cliff too, because he's just cool. He just got stabbed in the head. He's like, bring in bagels, man.
Bring me bagels. Take care of my dog.
That's such a dude thing to say, man. He's a Lebowski.
Oh, dude, he was so cool. I think this is probably one of my favorite roles by Brad Pitt.
Oh, easily, dude. This and Leo, man. This might have been my favorite. I don't think necessarily his best performance, but it might have been my favorite performance from him.
But
he was good
most
in
of my
Wolf of
favorite
Wall Street.
movies have Brad Pitt in them. Which is pissing me off.
Fight Club.
7.
12
Fight
Monkeys.
Club. 12 Monkeys.
Yeah.
This.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
But man,
they all have freaking Brad Pitt in it. It's just annoying.
You got a thing for Brad Pitt, bro?
I know. I might have fucking have a crush on him. You never know, man.
I like it. Like, he was still even cool when that hippie chick jumped in his car.
Yeah.
And she's like, "You want me to suck her cock?" And he's just like, "How old are you?"
Yeah.
Yeah. And he goes that whole scene.
Yeah.
It like that was so funny. Like, Anton was making fun of that girl with
Oh my God.
he hates hippies too. The hairy armpits.
Oh.
I fucking hate hairy armpits, dude.
Who even has those? You know what I mean?
You know
I don't
me
think
with
I've ever-
armpits, dude.
Like you
Yeah.
had that armpit fetish. You want a
No, I
cleanly
just like
shaven
clean
armpit.
pits.
It makes sense, right? I mean, do you? Is it dependent on the deodorant? Does it matter if
No,
it's
it's
a
like
stick or a spray?
when armpits, when they're hairy.
Oh yeah.
It's like when you look at them, it's like, am I kissing a dude? Or...
Dude, there's got to be some dudes out there that have a fetish for girls.
Oh
with
yeah,
hairy arms.
there's
probably
some
is.
people like hairy women.
That's crazy.
I'm just not one of them.
No, as most people are not. Man,
not
we're
one
really
of them.
getting off course here. Okay.
You know who didn't have hairy armpits? Bruce Lee.
Okay, let's talk about his portrayal.
Okay,
or the portrayal.
you know what? That was one of my favorite scenes in the movie. I think that was my second favorite scene in the movie, and I like more how it started off with Cliff on top of the roof,
Yeah.
and he's lighting up a cigarette when he's trying to fix the antenna, and he goes back to to
Yeah.
the situation. That's why I love this scene.
When I first watched it, it bothered me a little bit just because it's like I love Bruce Lee, man. Like,
Yeah, but
I
it's an
loved it.
Elseworld
But then the
story.
second time I watched this, it's like okay, I got over that.
The thing is, it's
the
all
scene is still
happening
good.
from his memory.
Yeah, that's true.
This is what
yeah.
he remembered happened.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
It's
true.
not what actually happened, but
That's
like, it's
true.
what he remembered
That's a
happened.
good point.
That's a really good point. But
Yeah,
at the
that's a
same
really good
time, it's
point.
also not a Bruce Lee story.
Yeah, that's true.
It's really not.
And it's funny how he just snickers at the end, like, yeah, they were right.
he's like, yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, I did deserve it.
I love it when he beats the shit out of Bruce Lee,
Oh,
and then he
yeah.
throws him into the car.
Yeah.
And then when his wife, Kurt Russell's wife,
Yeah.
comes out, and
Zoe
she's
Bell.
like, "What are you doing?" And he's like
Yeah.
beating the shit out of this guy.
Yeah.
Well, what happened to my car? Threw this little prick into
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Like, he
And
just
then
called Bruce Lee a
is
little
like,
prick.
Hey, he wasn't fighting me with a dent in that car, says otherwise.
No, yeah,
It's
he
like,
didn't beat me up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
That's so
man, that was
good.
great. I loved that scene. That was so
Dude,
funny.
It was such a collection of just great scenes where you're just sitting there just watching good acting.
Mhm.
Especially one of my favorite scenes was Leo with the little girl.
The little kid.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man,
That was good.
He
That
goes,
was-
How old are you? 12? She goes 8. That tells him not only does he not know shit about kids, but he was just so impressed with how smart she was.
Yeah.
And she was like the definition of feminism.
Mhm.
You know, but
Oh,
don't
yeah.
call me this and I'm this and
Yeah.
oh I don't eat. You know, like she was just strong. She was
And
a
not
strong
just,
little
I mean,
girl.
yeah, definitely feminism, but also like professionalism. It was
Yeah,
that young
big time.
hunger to be
Yeah.
the best, because that whole conversation about the book that he was reading was about somebody who was the best, and then eventually they
Yeah.
don't become the best anymore.
Yeah.
And like that's why I love that scene,
Yeah.
because she represented that. She's like, it's my duty to stop anything that's going to hinder my performance, and if that means not eating lunch, that means not eating
Yeah.
lunch. If it gives me a little bit the advantage to be a little bit better,
Yeah, then I'll
why
do
wouldn't
it.
I take
Yeah.
that? And you could see how that was they played that out so brilliantly.
Well, that's what it affected him so much when she said that was the best acting, because in that conversation that they had, he had so much respect for her
Yeah.
Yeah.
for doing that, and
Yeah.
then for her to say to him that like that was the best acting I've seen in my
Yeah,
life.
it made
In
a
my entire life,
difference.
but she's only 8.
Yeah. But you know what's funny? It's like when you see him on the Lancer show, his acting was so much better
Yeah.
than the other people.
Yeah.
But then it's funny when one of my favorite scenes when he's just in there, sound like a baboon. And
Yeah.
Jared's getting so
Oh
mad.
yeah.
I'm
When he
gonna
kept
blow
on
your
asking
brains
for
out.
line, and then he goes, he's flipping out in his trailer afterwards.
So funny.
Yeah, he's
and he's there like, I'm gonna blow your
Your
fucking brains out. It's so dark, but it's so,
It's so funny.
funny. You believe him.
You got drunk last night. You drank 8 whiskey sours. It's like he made 8 of
Yeah,
those.
and he's like, I'm not drinking anymore. And he just takes it. Well, just a sip.
So-
He had this fucking picture of Margarita,
And he's there just drinking out of it like a madman.
He was yelling at the fucking hippies. Like,
Well, yeah, when he's
Okay.
yelling at those hippies.
Here's the question: who did you like more, Rick Dalton, Cliff Booth? Like who acted better? What character did you
Ooh.
like more? Those are two different
Well, the
questions.
thing is, I mean, obviously DiCaprio acted way better, but Cliff Booth
but
was
I think
was
Cliff
my favorite character. He was
I
my
agree.
favorite character.
What about you, Anton?
it's like Batman and Bruce Wayne. You know what I'm saying?
It
Like,
is.
no, I like Brad Pitt. You know me, I have this
His
fetish.
favorite,
for Brad
man.
Pitt. I don't know
Yeah.
why.
I mean, and it has nothing to do with her acting ability. I mean, I really like Leo.
Yeah.
I think he's a fantastic actor. When he's
Yeah.
on screen, you can't help but watch what he's going to do because you don't know if he's going to flip out or what kind of, but you know that he's going to give an honest performance.
I think
and you get the same thing
yeah.
with Brad Pitt, but it's just like opposite ends of the spectrum.
I think right now, currently, I think he's the best actor right now that's working.
Oh, DiCaprio?
Yeah. I think he's the best. I don't see anybody outstage him. My favorite performance from him is probably Wolf of Wall Street, but this one's really fucking close.
Dude, this
I haven't seen Wolf of Wall Street.
Shut up. Oh, we're going to watch it.
It's
Let's watch it
Scorsese,
today.
Man, we're watching it immediately after our podcast.
That's another one.
You have to watch it. You have to watch it. I'm telling you, it's amazing.
I saw the clips where what's her name? Sharon Tate girl.
Margot Robbie is how
Yeah.
I saw the boobs part of that.
I don't think she would. Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah, you forgot that they were. You forgot that they were in the movie together. It's so funny.
No, they were. That's why. So you could tell he saw that movie and was like, "I want that chemistry."
The only thing though, like with Margot Robbie though, like she's great, but every time I see her, I just see Harley.
Oh yeah.
I always see Harley.
I can see that, but man, it was such a different character. I mean, obviously such a different character,
hot,
but when I see Harley Quinn, I see Margot Robbie, but when I see Margot Robbie, I don't always think Harley Quinn.
No, I think more Wolf of Wall Street.
Well, now I'm gonna think this
because I haven't seen Wolf of Wall Street. The only movie I've seen her in is
Suicide Squad. Wolf of Wall Street.
Mm-hmm. So every time
I think she was better in that one.
I have to watch that again too.
I didn't even see that Will Smith with her too. Was that Focus or?
I mean, Suicide Squad.
No, no, Focus.
I didn't see that one.
There's another one too with her and Will Smith.
But anyway, well, we can figure that one out later. Let's we're gonna start wrapping this up soon. But how did you guys feel about the time that they chose to do in this movie?
1969.
1969. I love that old Hollywood feeling.
I do too, and I think overall with this movie, you know, people just have to have an open mind to it, man. Just have an open mind and watch it because it's such a great film. You know, when I first watched it, I gave the score a 7. Mm-hmm. And then when I kept thinking about it, I was like, nah, I think I'm gonna go up to a 7.5. Like it's flirting with an 8, but I need to watch it a second time. I saw it a second time. I'm like, oh, it's like 8.5, maybe higher. Like I don't know. Like I keep thinking about the movie. I don't want to watch it a third time.
But specifically about like the time period of like, because you know how difficult it is to do a period piece.
It's crazy that they shut down Hollywood.
Yeah.
And they were able to recreate that.
I loved that. Was I think that was my.
Eat there, Musso and Frank's. Get some steak.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
But it was just I just love that old school Hollywood feel and just the way that they were able to capture the 60s in Hollywood. It was just really... And the Hollywood Hills.
I just love it that they showcased my LA hometown, which is Chatsworth.
Chatsworth.
Dude.
That movie
range
was cool.
Is that he also gave a shout out to his own movie theater. So I guess he just bought like a small movie theater there in Hollywood.
Oh, did he?
Remember when she's walking, she goes, "What is that? The porno theater's having a premiere."
Oh, yeah.
He ended up buying that one. I guess it turned into a theater, and then he ended up buying it. So
that's cool.
Dome,
Yeah, I love that sequence when you're getting towards the third act when it goes nighttime and all the neon lights of Hollywood start flicking on. Oh, that was so cool. And I'm a history buff. I love history. So when you see it in film done correctly, and you kind of feel that it felt like it was in the 60s. That's what I loved about it.
It felt very authentic.
But the thing is, I'm trying to figure out where the Manson murders took place, though.
Oh,
I mean, it was there on that Cielo Drive.
Yeah, I think it was up there.
Yeah.
In Hollywood Hills, or was it
Hollywood
Hollywood?
No, I think it was Hollywood Hills. It was the Hollywood
Hills. That's what they said. It was Hollywood Hills. Yeah.
I don't remember it as much, but I love Sharon Tate.
And this also reminds me of one of my favorite documentaries. I've told you guys about it, and I think we should watch it today. Is The Kid Stays in the Picture, about Robert Evans, who was in charge of Paramount Pictures around that time. Yeah. And he's talking about how he rose to being able to run the studio, from being an actor to running the studio and making all those movies from that era. It was just like, it felt like I was watching that documentary. So we should check that out later on too.
Yeah, that and Wolf of Wall Street.
Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah, are there any other big parts of the movie that like we haven't really touched on, like some of our favorite aspects of it?
I thought the driving, some of my favorite shots from him was like the driving when it's going faster. When Tex is on the horse, remember how he's riding super fast to get to the to get to Booth, and he drives off. it's just a dope one shot where they're just riding along and you're seeing him moving up and down the hill. Like his movement shots were amazing.
I love the ones that are in the car with Polanski and Sharon, that
Oh,
old car,
yeah.
and they were driving from their house to the hills to the Playboy Mansion, and the whole time they're in the hill. I just love that whole drive. That was cool. And the other people that played, the guy who played Steve McQueen, I don't know that actor's name.
Damian Lewis.
Yeah, it's so funny because I would never picture him to play Steve McQueen, but once he was in it, I'm like, I totally saw it. I really, because The Great Escape is one of my favorite movies, and I love how they try to recreate that scene with him and Leo, because Leo's character almost got that part, and you could see it, like, you could see the angst in it. Because whenever that was brought up, you heard those dark piano tones, like, doom, like it's bringing up a bad memory, and you could tell that he was always thinking about, what if I was in that part? And it was just cool to see them recreate that moment from The Great Escape. Have you seen The Great Escape?
I did a long time ago.
Oh, we gotta watch that again. That was a really good movie too. I love Prison Escape.
Which one?
Yeah.
The transitions for scenes.
Oh yeah.
Every time it transitions to another scene, it's like it's very Tarantino-y.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You used the music really good too, man. I loved all the music in this.
The grain.
Yeah.
I like
His
the
soundtrack was amazing. Yeah, the grain was dope. So where do you guys rank it on the Tarantino list?
Oh,
We gotta do Tarantino list.
Tarantino list. This is definitely, I think, my top 3. I kind of want to call it my favorite, but I feel weird doing that, so I'm not going to. But I really, out of all his movies I've seen, I got like the most like connection to this movie than the other ones in a long time. So this is definitely in the top 3. I love Kill Bill, I love Pulp Fiction, and I love this movie. So I'm like those. I think those might be my top 3 right now. What about you?
I think I would go 1. I'd still go Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
2, I think I would go Inglourious Basterds.
Oh, that was really good
3
too.
is Kill Bill, but ironically, Kill Bill's the one that I watch the most.
Okay.
To me, it has the most rewatchability. Every time I hear the song, I have to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
And then 4, I go Django. Then 5th, I go Once Upon a Time.
Okay. What about you, Anton?
And then Reservoir.
3.
3.
This is your third?
Kill Bill 1 and 2 is number 1.
And what's number 2?
Django.
You love Django.
Django was awesome,
Yeah.
man.
I like
Django. Yeah.
It's because I like the satire of it too.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
I love it, dude. Yeah.
Remember when they said like that nigga's on the horse?
Oh yeah, on that nag. Yeah, on the nag.
Whatever that, that's so funny.
Yeah.
And then the violence, because I rate Tarantino movies by violence.
Yeah.
And who has
So
that
much,
great
man.
violence?
Oh.
And they've been playing Tupac when he's in there blasting
Yeah.
people, like when you shoot him and they're like getting pulled away. Like it was Django's amazing. I love
so
it. Django.
Kill Bill, Django, then
Once Upon a Time, and then what else? Just do top 5.
I like 4 Rooms.
4
But
Rooms.
that's just one.
But yeah, he has a short in there. Yeah.
And I could probably say Bastards.
No, Bastards
I love
is awesome,
Inglourious
man.
Basterds. That's a really good
Because
one
of
too.
Christoph Waltz.
Yeah.
Because he's just so freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Did you guys like Grindhouse? He was Grindhouse too. Right?
That one's my least favorite.
I didn't
out of
like
all
his
9.
Grindhouse.
I didn't like
What
it at all.
what
Death
about
Proof.
what was Death Proof? I liked seeing those stories because they were Quentin Tarantino stories, but
it was just,
I can
don't
see
know.
not rating them as the favorites, but I still like
In the
them.
Yeah, I mean,
Grindhouse, I
he
love
still
Planet
makes good
Terror
quality.
more.
Yeah, Planet Terror.
Oh,
Yeah,
Planet Terror is my
Robert
favorite.
Rodriguez.
One of my favorites.
Yeah,
I
that
love
one
the
was.
way he did
Yeah,
it.
I like that one more too. But then, so 9th I'd go that. 8th I'd go Jackie Brown. I think 7th I'd probably do Hateful Eight. Maybe 6th I go Kill Bill Volume 2. Oh no,
It's one movie.
Yeah, it is. I just like Part 1 way more than Part 2.
All right, guys. So what's your rating for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
I think I'm gonna go at a 8.5.
You're 8.5 out of 10.
Just because if it would have had like a more intense story, I easily could have given it a 10.
Okay.
Like that's all. It's just the story. It's like
It's
that's
just
the only thing.
is that your only?
Just the lack of story is what I knock it for.
Okay.
Just the lack of story.
What about you, Anton? What's your rating for Once Upon a Time?
I give it an 8. Just because he didn't kill all the hippies in the ranch. Killed all those hippies. It
Blow
would've
them
been
up.
Oh man, that would have been
Fuck
great.
those hippies, man.
Yeah,
They're evil hippies. They
Yeah.
killed fucking people. They're like
They
fucking,
did.
They'll
Fuck
eat
those-
you too.
Yeah.
Fuck those hippies. But anyway, so I'm about a 9. I really enjoyed the fuck out of this movie. I thought I way more than I thought I was going to. That was the thing. I had some expectations. I was looking forward to this movie, but I didn't know I was going to love it as much as I do. But yeah, so I'm at a 9. Where are you guys at? Did you guys like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? Have you seen it? Comment down below. If you guys are listening to us on SoundCloud or Spotify, why don't you travel over to our YouTube channel at Too High McFly Productions, and also our Twitter and Instagram, also at Too High McFly Productions. All right, well, until next time, I'm Kevin Lyons.
Daniel Sangre.
And we'll see you guys next time.